All right, so today we're going to be making the West Columbia style mustard-based hash, okay? And like all great hashes in South Carolina, or most great hashes, it starts with pork.
Okay.
So we have a 3-pound pork butt here, and we're going to leave it untrimmed with a nice fat cap on there. We just want that lusciousness, that richness to end up in our hash. So we're going to cut this into 1.5-inch chunks. I love pork butt.
Yep.
No bad dish ever started with pork butt.
Nope.
And this doesn't have to be perfect. This is going to cook for a while, and we're just going to let it go until it's nice and fall apart tender.
It looks like you're about to make a really good stew.
Yeah, you know, that's kind of a great way to describe hash. I mean, it's difficult to explain to somebody who's never had it. It's almost like a pulled pork stew in some ways, you know? This is one of those items that you find now at every barbecue joint, and oftentimes it defines the barbecue joint as much as the smoked meat itself.
Yeah, it sounds like it's in the know for the locals.
Yeah, I mean, every version is different in every town, and it's really hard to pinpoint one exact style. So we're gonna drop this in here. Pork's in the pot, and our next element is gonna be chicken livers. Now, traditionally, there's always some kind of offal that ends up in a hash. You know, it's a great way to use up those offcuts of the hog. Usually it's pork liver.
Right.
We're gonna use chicken liver today, because it's a little bit more accessible. We have 8 ounces of chicken liver here. We're just going to pop it in here and give it 6 pulses until it's nice and finely chopped. We'll drop this into the pot as well.
Okay.
Pork and livers are in the pot, and now we're going to add 1 large onion that's been coarsely chopped, 6 scallions that we've cut into about 1-inch pieces, 3 garlic cloves that have been smashed and peeled, a tablespoon of black pepper. The best hashes kind of make your, you know, kind of when you're eating them, clear your throat a little bit.
Nice.
They shouldn't be so spicy they set your mouth on fire, but you should notice.
Should wake you up.
Should wake you up, yeah. And 2 teaspoons of table salt here, and a 1/2 teaspoon of cayenne pepper. Finally, we're going to cover that with 4 cups of chicken broth. We can turn that heat on to high. We're just going to give this a quick stir. So we're going to bring this up to a boil over high heat, and then we're going to throw it into an oven at 300 degrees and let it cook there for about 2.5 hours until the meat is tender. Now, that's not a traditional way to cook a hash in South Carolina. It's usually done on a stovetop or over a live fire, which is really nice because that smoke comes up, hits that condensation that's coming off the pot and creates this flavorful
Magic.
magic.
Yeah. Sorcery down there in South Carolina.
Yeah, it's amazing. We're also going to leave the lid off. So any of the pork that's kind of hanging out above the waterline, we'll get some nice caramelization on it from the heat of the oven, and the liquid will reduce a little bit and concentrate.
Nice.
All right, so we're coming up to a boil. We're going to throw it onto the lower middle rack of a 300-degree oven, and we're going to let it cook uncovered for about 2.5 hours until the pork is nice and tender.
Okay. That smells amazing.
Bubbling nicely. Grabbing that door.
You got it.
Okay, so it's been going for a good 2.5 hours. We want to make sure that pork is nice and tender. You want to give it a little squeeze and make sure it kind of shreds easily.
Oof.
Just like that.
Easy.
All right, so now we're gonna mash and shred all of this up. And my favorite job for shredding meat, for barbecue, for any type of thing like this is using a potato masher. So we're just gonna go to town on it. You know, so this is that point where all those big chunks of onions and scallions are gonna get mashed up and finely shredded. So we'll just do this for a few minutes. But you can already smell how flavorful and intense that is. All right, so we are getting close here.
You're really, when you say mash it into a hash, you're really...
I'm really hashing it up here. So I think that is good. And now to that, like I said, we're gonna make mustard style hash. It's indicative of West Columbia, South Carolina. So we're gonna add 1 1/4 cups of yellow mustard, 1/3 cup of cider vinegar, okay, 3 tablespoons of brown sugar to kind of balance out the acidity from the mustard and the vinegar.
All right.
A teaspoon of hot sauce here, and a teaspoon of Worcestershire sauce. I'm gonna stir this together, and then we're gonna bring it to a boil over medium-high heat. So one advantage of cooking on the stovetop, like they do in South Carolina, is that you get this constant bubbling motion, and that helps emulsify the fat with the rest of the liquid. So since we cooked in the oven, that liquid and fat tend to separate a little bit.
Sure.
But we're gonna mend that by bringing it to a boil over medium-high heat, and then reducing it to medium-low and letting it go for a good 10 minutes or so until it thickens up. We kind of re-emulsify all that fat and liquid. All right, so it's coming up to a boil now. We'll reduce the heat to medium-low, and we'll let it simmer for about 10 minutes until it's thickened slightly.
Okay.
It's been a good 10 minutes. You can see how it's thickened up nicely. It's still stewy or stoopy,
Yeah.
you know, but It's thickened up nicely, and we're just looking for it to blanket a nice bowl of rice.
You know that's got to taste good.
You know it does. But to be sure, we're going to give it a little taste here. So we're going to add a little bit of extra salt here at the end. I mean, I like to season this aggressively. Like I said, the best hash tickles your throat a little bit. You get a little throat clear from the black pepper, from the cayenne. So don't be shy with this, you know? You gotta live. The cayenne especially, you know, that's what gets you in the back of the throat, where the black pepper tends to get you a little bit more on the tongue. And we'll just stir that in. Like oftentimes I'll also serve this with a ton of hot sauce on it. All right, I think we're ready to go. Can I hash you up?
Yes, please.
We are gonna serve this over top of a bowl of rice, as is traditional in South Carolina. You see how that just coats the rice? Just leaves a nice impenetrable barrier on top of the rice. Typically get like a styrofoam cup, you know, and it's like rice on the bottom, hash on top.
Right.
And you got to dig all the way to the bottom of the cup to get that going.
Bring it up as you bring the fork up.
Exactly. I mean, it's not much of a looker, but this thing, it just tastes so good.
Oh.
There's so many flavors happening here, but it's so simple at the same time.
Well, I like foods that aren't very attractive, Brian. I mean, you know, sausage gravy, things like that. Yeah.
All day long.
Yeah.
That is so tasty. It's kind of a sleeper hit. You can see like this dish really defines a lot of the barbecue restaurants throughout South Carolina. The reputation is based on their hash first, smoked meat second. It's really an incredible
I can see
piece of
why.
culture. Yeah.
I can absolutely see why. I mean, obviously the meat's tender.
For full episodes of your favorite cooking shows, head over to ATK's Full Episodes channel on YouTube. You can stream complete seasons of America's Test Kitchen, Cook's Country, and more. See you there.